Ever wondered if your ex, now with someone new, will ever return to you? The truth might surprise you. Relationships are complex, and your actions now could determine their future feelings for you. Stay tuned to discover what drives their decisions and how you hold the power to change everything. When your ex finds a new partner, it's natural to feel a mix of emotions: pain, confusion, maybe even anger. It raises so many questions. Is this new person better than me? What does this mean for the relationship we had? And most importantly, will they come back? These questions can be overwhelming, but the first thing to understand is this: your ex's new relationship might not be as perfect as it seems. Let's start with understanding what's really happening in this new relationship. You might think that your ex has found their soulmate, or that they've replaced you with someone better. But the reality is often far more complex. Many times, when someone moves on quickly after a breakup, it's not because they've found something deeper or more meaningful. Instead, it's because they're looking for an escape or a distraction from the pain of the breakup. This brings us to the honeymoon phase. The beginning of any new relationship is usually filled with excitement, passion, and endless possibilities. It's a time when everything feels magical. Your ex might seem happier than ever, posting smiling photos on social media or sharing about their new partner in glowing terms. But here's what you need to remember. The honeymoon phase is temporary. During this time, their brain is flooded with chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin, making them feel euphoric. This rush of emotions can make them think they've found something extraordinary. But as the novelty wears off and the realities of the new relationship set in, things start to change. The initial spark may fade, and they'll begin to see their new partner's flaws. This is when they'll compare their current situation to what they had with you. And that's where things get interesting. Because here's the truth. If your relationship with your ex was stable, loving, and built on mutual understanding, they won't be able to forget it. Those memories don't just disappear. Even if they've moved on with someone new, the history you shared is still a part of them. And when the excitement of their new relationship fades, they'll start to reflect on what they left behind. Now, let's dive deeper into why your ex might still think of you, even when they're with someone else. When you've shared a meaningful connection with someone, it leaves a lasting imprint. If your relationship was one where you laughed together, supported each other, and built a strong bond, those moments are hard to replace. People often leave stable relationships not because they stopped loving their partner, but because they were searching for something they felt was missing: excitement, passion, or maybe just a change. However, what they often don't realize in the heat of the moment is that those feelings can be fleeting. And once they've left, they might find themselves looking back and questioning their decision. Did I make a mistake? Was I chasing something that wasn't real? Have I given up something valuable for something temporary? These are the kinds of questions your ex might begin to ask themselves, especially if their new relationship doesn't live up to their expectations. But here's the key. They'll only start to question things if you give them the space to do so. This brings us to your role in this entire process. Your behavior right now is absolutely critical. It's natural to want to reach out, to explain your feelings, or even to fight for your relationship. But here's the hard truth. Chasing after your ex will only push them further away. When you're constantly texting them, checking up on them, or trying to insert yourself into their life, it sends a clear message: you're desperate. And desperation isn't attractive. Instead of making them miss you, it reinforces their decision to move on. The most powerful thing you can do in this situation is to create space. Stop reaching out. Stop watching their every move. Stop trying to make them jealous. This might feel counterintuitive, but it's incredibly effective. When your ex doesn't hear from you, they start to wonder, what's going on? Have they moved on? Are they happier without me? Silence creates mystery, and mystery is compelling. It forces them to confront the possibility that you're doing just fine without them. And that thought alone can spark curiosity, regret, and even longing. But silence alone is enough. During this time, you need to focus on yourself. This is your opportunity to grow, to heal, and to become the best version of yourself. Dive into hobbies you've always wanted to explore. Spend time with friends and family. Take care of your physical and mental health. Not only will this help you move forward, but it will also make you more attractive in their eyes. When your ex sees you thriving, it shifts the dynamic. You go from being someone who's stuck in the past to someone who's confident, independent, and moving forward. And that's incredibly appealing. Now, let's talk about the big question. Will your ex come back? The answer depends on several factors. First, how strong was your connection? If your relationship was built on a foundation of love, trust, and mutual respect, there's a good chance they'll start to miss what you had. The depth of your bond plays a huge role in whether or not they'll consider returning. Second, how does their new relationship compare to what you had? If their new partner doesn't meet their emotional or intellectual needs, it's likely that they'll start to feel dissatisfied. And when that happens, they'll inevitably think about the stability and comfort they had with you. But perhaps the most important factor is your attitude. If you've spent this time chasing after them, begging them to come back, or lowering your self-worth, it's unlikely they'll see you in a new light. On the other hand, if you've shown confidence, self-respect, and the ability to move forward, you've positioned yourself as someone worth fighting for. However, before you even consider taking them back, there's an important question you need to ask yourself. Can you forgive them? If your ex left you for someone else, that's a painful betrayal. Even if they come back, you need to be honest with yourself about whether you can truly let go of the hurt. If forgiveness isn't possible, the relationship will be filled with resentment and unresolved issues, and in the end, it will likely fall apart again. So take the time to reflect on whether or not you can move forward without holding on to bitterness. On the other hand, if you believe you can forgive and rebuild trust, it's possible to create an even stronger relationship. But this requires open communication, mutual effort, and a willingness to let go of the past. Finally, let's address a common scenario. Your ex didn't leave you for someone else, but they've since started a new relationship. In this case, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparing yourself to their new partner. You might find yourself analyzing their social media, wondering if they're happier, and convincing yourself that you've been replaced. But here's what you need to remember. You're only seeing the highlights of their life, not the full picture. Social media is a curated version of reality. Just because they're smiling in a photo doesn't mean their new relationship is perfect. And even if their new relationship seems great right now, most relationships face challenges as they progress. The initial excitement fades, and compatibility becomes the real test. If their new relationship isn't built on a strong foundation, it's unlikely to last. More importantly, you shouldn't base your self-worth on their choices. Your value doesn't diminish because your ex is with someone new. Instead of competing with their new partner, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. This isn't about winning or losing. It's about finding peace within yourself and creating a life that makes you truly happy. To drive this point home, let me share a real-life example. I once knew a couple who had been together for nearly 9 years. Their relationship ended when the man decided he wanted to explore new possibilities. A few months after the breakup, he started dating someone new, and it seemed like he had moved on completely. The woman, on the other hand, took her time to heal. She focused on herself, rediscovered her passions, and eventually met someone who was a perfect match for her. Meanwhile, the man's new relationship fell apart after a 1.5 years because they simply weren't compatible. Fast forward a few years, and the woman is now engaged to someone who treats her with love and respect. Looking back, she's grateful for the breakup because it led her to a relationship that fulfills her in ways her past relationship never could. The takeaway? Sometimes letting go is the best thing you can do. Even if your ex comes back, you need to ask yourself if they truly align with the life you want to create. So whether your ex's new relationship lasts or not, your focus should always be on your own growth and happiness. When you prioritize yourself, you create the foundation for a fulfilling life, whether or not your ex is a part of it. This journey isn't about waiting for them to return. It's about becoming so complete within yourself that their presence or absence doesn't define your worth. When you reach that point, you'll find peace, and the right relationship, whether it's with your ex or someone new, will come naturally.